For Eric J on Sports, I'm Eric J, and this is what I think. Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs have earned their way back into the AFC Championship game for the 6th season in a row. And during that span, Patrick Mahomes has appeared in 3 Super Bowls, winning 2. So, whenever Super Bowl quarterbacks are discussed, Patrick Mahomes is talked about in the same breath as Joe Montana, who appeared in 4 Super Bowls, winning all 4, and Tom Brady, who appeared in 10 Super Bowls, winning 7. Patrick Mahomes is being looked at as a quarterback who will eventually end his career in the upper echelon of Super Bowl winners. But whenever this conversation is had, there seems to be one individual who always gets left out of this conversation, and I don't really know why. Now, if you look back at the inception of the AFC Championship game, from 1970, when the first game was held, to 1980, which is a span of 11 years, only 7 teams appeared in the AFC Championship game. The Broncos and Chargers appeared in 1 each. The Colts appeared in the first 2 in a row. The Dolphins appeared in 3 in a row. And the Houston Oilers appeared in 2 in a row. So now if you've done your math, that's 9 appearances out of 22, which means that there were 13 appearances left. Now the Oakland Raiders appeared in the AFC Championship game 7 times during that 11-year span. But the Oakland Raiders, when they appeared with 3 different quarterbacks. In their first appearance, they were quarterbacked by Daryle Lamonica during the season and then George Blanda in the championship game. In their next few appearances, it was Ken Stabler. And in their final 2 appearances, it was Jim Plunkett. So you're talking about 7 appearances in 11 years, but with 3 different quarterbacks. Now, the last 6 appearances that occurred between 1970 and 1980 belongs to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the Pittsburgh Steelers appeared in 6 AFC Championship games over an 8-year span, which is similar to Patrick Mahomes' 6 appearances in a row and Tom Brady's 10 appearances and 7 championships. The Pittsburgh Steelers appeared in 6 AFC Championship games over an 8-year span. And they were all quarterbacked by the same one guy, Terry Bradshaw. Now, Terry Bradshaw was an unheralded player, even though he was a first-round draft pick, but Terry Bradshaw went to 6 AFC Championship games with the Steelers in 8 years, won 4, went to 4 Super Bowls, and finished his Super Bowl career 4-0, just like Joe Montana. So when everybody talks about Patrick Mahomes and his Super Bowl exploits and his exploits in the AFC Championship game, they compare him to Montana and they compare him to Brady, but they forget to talk about Terry Bradshaw. Now, people are going to want to say, oh, well, Terry Bradshaw got there because he had a lot of Hall of Fame talent. Well, that's true. He did. But it takes Hall of Fame talent to win in the NFL. Joe Montana had Jerry Rice and Roger Craig and Dwight Clark, who helped him to get to the championship. Joe Montana is not 4-0 with 4 Super Bowl MVPs. He didn't win the Super Bowl MVP every time, so he had talent on his team. Tom Brady does not have 7 championships and 7 Super Bowl MVPs. Tom Brady went to the Super Bowl with Randy Moss, Rob Gronkowski, and Aaron Hernandez, and Wes Welker, and Julian Edelman, and on and on and on. He had help. He had other players there. He didn't win the Super Bowl MVP 7 times by himself. Patrick Mahomes had Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce and other players helping him. So yes, Terry Bradshaw had Hall of Famers. He had Lynn Swann. He had John Stallworth. He had Franco Harris. He had Rocky Blyer. He had help. He had talent. He had weapons on his team. And he won 4 Super Bowls in 4 tries out of 6 AFC championships in 8 years. So when you're talking about all-time Super Bowl quarterbacks, you're talking about Mahomes now, and you're talking about Brady, and you're talking about Joe Montana, but don't forget about and don't sleep on Terry Bradshaw. Terry Bradshaw was one of the great Super Bowl quarterbacks ever. He did win 4. He was 4-0. He did go to 6 AFC championships. He did do the same thing that Joe Montana did, and he did do close to the same thing that Tom Brady did. And he did what Patrick Mahomes is currently trying to do, and that's be a quarterback who leads his team to the championship and beyond every single year. So when you talk about Mahomes and you talk about Brady and you talk about Joe, don't forget to talk about Bradshaw. Bradshaw was 4-0 before Joe Montana. Bradshaw had 4 Super Bowls when no other quarterback had more than 2. Bradshaw was 4-0 with Montana chasing him and Brady chasing them both. Bradshaw and Montana are the only quarterbacks to have that many victories and be undefeated. Not just Joe, but Joe and Terry. So don't forget about Terry Bradshaw when you're talking about Patrick Mahomes. Remember to like and share this video and subscribe to this channel and visit the Eric J. on Sports website and follow me on Facebook at Eric J. on Sports 1 and on Instagram and Twitter at Eric J. on Sports. And for Eric J. on Sports, I'm Eric J. and this is what I think.